Hello, welcome to another 7 stories in 7 minutes. Thank you for finding me, if you have for the first time, and if you've been watching for a while, super grateful. Please share if you like, and I know many of you do. Thank you so much. I'm going to start off today with something that not many people are talking about. Dr. Camilla Kingdon. Have you heard of her? I hadn't. So as you can see here, the Kingdon Review of Children's Hearing Services. Children's hearing services is something that nobody's talking about. But actually it was part of the programme back in my day. A child, if they had a hearing difference, were automatically sent to the audiologist for a hearing test. That's not happening anymore. Perhaps that's because people are reluctant to take their children to health visitors. I don't know. But clearly the audiology services, which are vital, are failing. Let's look further into the report. It says that the failed or late identification of deafness has had a profound impact on many affected babies, children and their families. Why are we getting perhaps an increase in children with hearing problems? It also says that communication between NHS England and the Department of Health, we know that NHS England is folding up and becoming part of the Department of Health, are not following practices. There's been no assurance of quality as measured by safety, effectiveness. It's all the same story, isn't it? Again, failing, but failing children and babies, and in turn failing their whole families. And it goes on to say, even worse, children's hearing services are rarely on anyone's radar. Well, they're on mine, and now they're on yours. It says that the audiology workforce has been neglected for years. Yes, it has. And it said the findings of this review are highly relevant to any service which attracts little attention, investment or scrutiny, but has the potential to cause lifelong harm when quality standards are not upheld. Children's hearing, I'll be talking more about this in the future. Any of you out there want to make comments, please do. Let's turn our attention to dentists. How many of you are trying to find a dentist, NHS dentist? As rare as hen's teeth, pardon the pun. But according to the BBC, it's a work of fiction actually on their website, because they say, dentists say, you know, we've got so many vacancies and we can get so many patients, and then you end up seeing queues around the corner, when actually the websites are very misleading, because there are no dental patient vacancies. And as you can see from here, the British Dental Association said when availability allows was an attempt to conceal the scale of the problem. Of 34 North East England practices on the website said to be accepting new patients, only 3 had spaces. Imagine the disappointment. It's painful, isn't it? Dental abscess, dental pain. And then let's go on again to babies again. And this is the Telegraph. And they are reporting that abortions based on the sex of babies could be legalised under plans considered by the SNP. I've highlighted in pink, women could abort babies based on their sex under reforms being considered by SNP, ministers' campaigners have claimed. The practice is illegal under the Abortion Act 1967 because it is not one of the lawful grounds set out in which a woman can have an abortion. I've no words. But I'll carry on to cancer, because we've talked a lot about cancer and how the UK has become the cancer laboratory for the world seemingly, but people aren't receiving treatment. So here on the BBC you can see nearly all NHS trusts are failing to hit the cancer target. Almost every hospital trust in England is failing to meet key NHS waiting time target for cancer care, and yet more people are being tested for cancer than ever before. In fact, you know, you'll probably get a request coming through the door. Would you like to test for prostate cancer? Would you like to test for this or that cancer? They're looking for it. And how accurate are the tests? Larry Ellison. mRNA, AI, cancer vaccines, just saying. So this is where you can see the UK nation is not meeting its cancer target, and you can see the statistics there. England 68.9%, Scotland 71%, Wales 60.6%, Northern Ireland 33.4%. But they're saying, the BBC were told, that scanning and radiotherapy machines have been breaking down. No wonder people haven't been receiving treatment. GP referral letters are being lost. Oh, maybe that's to get you to go on the app. And appointments are being cancelled at the last minute, so this is all creating absolute carnage. Story 5 is from Sky News, and I was slightly shocked. So the headline is: breastfeeding expert pits science against ideology in landmark transgender parenting case after male-born mum launches a legal action. This is a breastfeeding expert that has said that she's standing her ground and that she is going to call this transgender woman out. Because as you can see further on in the story, it says a breastfeeding expert is facing legal action from a transgender Queensland mother, so this is Australia, whose breastfeeding attracted criticism in a major case pitting science and freedom of speech against gender ideology. How complex does this have to be? So this was Jennifer Adrian Buckley, who's transitioned from male to female, and she's been using a breast pump to encourage her body to express milk in order to feed her child. Now, I'd like to say that expressing milk, what kind of hormones does she have in her milk? What kind of impact and effect is that having on that baby? What chance does that baby have? Your comments welcome, as always. Story 6. One day you might wake up and you might find that you've got no access to the data that you need on your phone and that you've been blocked for the internet. And I just wanted to highlight this. How does your data cap affect you? And this is a story from CNET. Hit your data cap again. Those tricks can help you stream smarter, but you're limited by your internet provider depending on how much you spend, how much money you've got, or how much you use the internet. But one day, you know, that cap is going to go and you are going to end up with no internet. And it says here, throttle your service, literally. Story 7, just to finish on, the Telegraph. Oh, they've said it all, really. Why can't the NHS communicate with us properly? Well, because we're all messing about with the app and we're getting false information properly, but they want us to use the app because they're saying that late arriving letters, they're saying that the good old-fashioned snail mail and belts and braces, face-to-face paper and pen isn't working. Well, I'm telling you, it does work. So why can't the NHS communicate with us properly? Because they're not talking to us, and more importantly, they're not listening to us. But thank you for listening to me. And don't forget, whatever happens, remember, keep smiling.